another exclusive ore, and it's by far the rarest ore in the game. It takes hours to find all the netherite you need to get a full set of armor and tools, but that honestly makes it pretty exciting whenever you do find ancient debris. This also works a bit differently from other ores, as each ancient debris will give you another bit of scrap. From there, you need 4 scraps and 4 gold ingots to make a netherite ingot, which can then be used to upgrade any piece of diamond gear to netherite. So for the simple reason of being a better diamond, it gets the best of it. There are a few more uses it has outside of gear, though. It can be used to make a lodestone, which I think will need the same person. And it can be used to make another block. Now I said that the gold block was the one I used the second most behind quartz earlier, but that's only because the netherite block is so hard to get. I love how this looks so much, but in order to craft it, you need to find 36 ancient debris, which is absolutely devastating. If it wasn't so hard, I'd be using this in so many builds. I guess that does make it a pretty cool beacon flex, but if you want a full netherite beacon, that's going to cost you 5,904 ancient debris. Yeah, if you do that, I think you should just block it. You're injuring yourself and others. For having the best gear and tools in the game and a really nice looking block, I'm putting it at 3. But the last 2 ores we have on this list, in my opinion, deserve to be far above the rest. I could definitely see an argument for either one of these taking the top spot, but I think they both have to be up here. For me though, the runner-up belongs to 2, redstone. If you want to build literally any machine in Minecraft, you need redstone. I've mentioned it so much throughout this video for good reason. It's just incredibly important. Want to make a piston door? You need redstone for that. Want to make a farm of basically anything? 9 times out of 10, you're going to need redstone or its components. Want to make a pig torture device? Yeah, you're going to need redstone. I'm honestly having a hard time getting my thoughts on how essential this is. I mean, it's the wiring that lets these machines run, and it's the only thing in the game that can do it. It's also just using the crafting recipe for cooking when you're using it. Wow, it's used to make fun of redstone, vector cells, specimens, rock, power all of this it can be used to increase the duration of potions, which is a must for any player who uses it. Uses for redstone and high there are so many YouTubers that are essentially done with the machine. I can easily understand why so many people use one, but what do I think holds it back? Well, it's funnily enough the reason so many people like it, its complexity. While I and many others love it because of what it can be used to make, a lot of players sort of avoid redstone because of how hard it is to learn. I can certainly understand that, especially for younger players, but I think redstone uses are just so good that it has to place at number 2 anyway. But no matter your skill level, there's one ore that's always useful. Iron. Iron ingots are one of the most useful items in the game, as they are used in probably the most different scenarios out of any other item. For starters, it can be used to craft armor and tools, which are must-haves for the game to not only survive, but also collect other resources like diamond. Once you outgrow iron gear though, you're not quite done with iron because of the sheer number of crafting recipes it's part of. Let's just go down the list, shall we? Activator rails are probably the most specific of rail types, but if you ever want to set up TNT minecart traps, they're your best bet. And rails are a massively important block. Not only can they be used to rename items, but also used to apply enchantment books to items. Certain enchantments, like mending, can only be gotten from books, so in order to max out your gear, you are required to get enchanted. Blast furnace is extremely useful in saving Blocks of iron not only look really nice for building, but are also great choices for vehicles as well. Plus, you can even make iron bullets. Buckets are extremely important as they can carry water, lava, milk, powdered snow, and fish. Water is always good to have on hand so you can save yourself if you ever get put into a tricky situation. Cauldrons can be used to farm lava and powdered snow, which isn't useful otherwise. Chains and iron bars don't have any practical uses, but are both extremely nice decoration blocks. I personally use them all the time. Compasses are required to make maps, and I always have a map board in any world I'm in. The crafter is one of the most important redstone items added in years, letting us automatically craft whatever we want. Integral rails are useful for making any redstone machine you want. Flint steel is the best way to make fire, which is most important in lighting netherite. Heavy weighted pressure plate sure is an item that exists. The hopper might just be the most important use of iron, as it is used in every farm in the game. It automatically picks up and moves items, essentially being the only reason automatic farms can work without a player having to pick stuff up. In my experience, this is what most of your iron will go to. Iron doors and trapdoors are good for decoration and are different from normal doors, so they need redstone to open. Iron nuggets are used in several other recipes, most notably lanterns, one of my favorite lighting blocks in the game. Minecarts are very helpful in transportation and certain farms. Plus, it's also a really good move in Smash Bros. I love it. Pistons are able to move blocks, which is fantastic for machine. Rails are obviously needed for anything in Minecraft. Shields let you mine and keep blocks like leaves and cobwebs, and also get more machine shields are essential in combat, especially against skeletons and other areas. Smithing tables are required to get other water makes building with any stone-related blocks significantly easier and more resource efficient. And finally, the tripwire hook can be used in traps. That is a lot of different uses, which spread across to so many different aspects of the game. That's not even including the fact you can trade iron to villagers. Iron farms are efficient and easy to build, and I think we have a clear winner for the best war Minecraft has to offer. Anyways, that's it for this video. Are you obsessed with soul campfires and hate me for putting coal so low on the list? Let me know in the comments. I had a lot of fun coming up with the order on this list, so hopefully this video was enjoyable for you guys. I think you might get more wars in the future like Amethyst and Copper. Even if they did play slow, I love their inclusion. Most of all, I hope this ranking wasn't too controversial because it was definitely one of the hardest ones I had to put together. But anyways, try bones for Smash, and I'll see you guys next time.
Gonna let it play out. I can't speak. Yeah.
Recently, the Minecraft 1.21.5 drop, otherwise known as the Spring Life drop, is released. I already made a video ranking all the features within the update, however, I still have plenty to talk about. I release videos way more about the that means I often miss out on the creative That's pretty important for this drop, as it completely overhauled all of the spot editing. Obviously, this is a creative mode exclusive item, but a lot of people were asking me to talk about this change. In fact, a lot of people wanted me to rank all of the new spotlight textures from the worst to the best, because some of them are worse than others. So I thought, hey, that's a pretty good idea. Well, what makes my take on this concept special is that my opinion is more than correct. Seriously though, shoutouts to all the other people who are in this ranking. If you disagree with me, I guess you can go watch one of them instead. But anyway, how am I going to be ranking these? Well, it's obviously purely based on aesthetics. Do I like how it looks? Do I think the egg is creative? And does it convey what mob it's supposed to be about? These textures are also, like I said, quite new, so I'm still getting used to them. I mean, the previous spotlight textures are older than half of you watching, so it's going to take me a bit of time. But overall, it looks like you like the change. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's jump right in. For this ranking here, we're also going to be separating the eggs into a tier list. Obviously, the ranking is still going to be numbered, but I thought this would be helpful since a lot of the eggs are pretty similar quality-wise. Starting off with our F here, we got a trilogy of eggs that I think do a terrible job showcasing what mob they're supposed to be. I mean, let's just slide them on screen here. From a distance, it's pretty hard to tell them apart. They do a great job showing what mob they're supposed to be. These eggs are 81 the skeleton horse, 80 the skeleton, and 79 the ghast. I'm not fully sure what they should have done instead, but these eggs are just not great. These are probably the three most similar eggs to one another in the entire game, and that's really their downfall. Oh, and also, hopefully you guys are okay with the background footage being kind of unrelated today. I just wanted to have something moving in the background so this video was adjusted. 78 the wither skeleton, and 72nd the wither. Similar issue here because these two just look too similar to me. Yes, it makes sense that they would be, but I think it's still too hard to tell them apart. Plus, they don't even do a great job representing the mobs. 76 the dolphin. This is our first water mob, and I really like the little detail their eggs got of having a small head. It helps make them stand out a bit more, so that did give this guy a little bit of a boost. Unfortunately, the design of this egg doesn't look good. The way the fin sticks out just kind of makes it look like 75 the squid. We've actually got quite a bit of a water streak here. This is low because it's just kind of hard to tell what this is supposed to be. It's just plain black with a small bit of the mouse showing at the bottom. The perspective on this is also just a bit weird, so I'm not a fan of it. 74 the glow squid. This one is both better and worse than the last one somehow. On a positive note, the color scheme is very unique for the glow squid, so it's pretty obvious what this is supposed to be. Unfortunately, the egg still looks pretty gross to me with all the spots on it. This is probably the best they could have done, but I don't like it. 73 tropical fish. This one is always going to be hard because the whole point of this mob is that it can come in a number of different colors. The clownfish look makes the most sense for the egg, but I just don't.
Yep.
Love how it came together. I'm really not sure why they gave the fish eggs fins. I think it would have been better if they just didn't have those. 72 the pufferfish. I don't really like how the spiky bit was done here. It makes sense when they would try to. 72 not a huge fan of the legs. 64, the Stray. This is a lot better than the previous skeleton variants, but this does still have colors. The colors are great, but I think they just too much detail on this end. If they made the texture a little less messy, I think I might like it more. 3, the Ocelot. This one is just really plain. The color scheme works well, but the features are Mamma snout, but it just feels a bit weird in that place. I think maybe the art itself is just a bit too big. At the very least, it is really 61, the creaking. Colors are mostly pretty good, but I mean, some of it should definitely stay, but I think there might have been a bit too much. Also, I don't think the egg needed to be so big. Yeah, the creaking is kind of tall, but he's also pretty skinny, so the fat egg just doesn't super well in my opinion. 60, the Strider. Yeah, that's about what I'd expect this egg to look like. I don't love the bits hanging off the top, but they kind of had to include that since it's on the Strider, so I don't really think this needs to be changed. 59, the Rabbit. Yep, that looks like a rabbit. Not much else to say on that. They should make it blue like Bonnie. 58, the Armadillo. Yep, that looks like an armadillo. I think at least the color scheme and design is a bit more interesting than the rabbit, but it's still a fairly simple egg. 57, the Husk. I wouldn't change anything about this as it nails the color scheme and design of the Husk pretty perfectly. The only thing holding this back is the fact that the Husk is a very dull color scheme, so the egg couldn't really stand out and be interesting. 56, the Olay, and 55, the Vex. Both of these two are very similar, so I'm putting them back to back. Bring back the old Vex. But luckily the design change doesn't really affect the eggs at all. Both of them are blue with pink jetted on, and I think that works pretty well. I like the color of the Olay egg more, but the angry eyebrows of the Vex gives it the edge for me. 54 cod and 53 salmon. Here we have our two remaining fish, and I think they did a better job than the other two. The color scheme works a lot better on both of these guys, especially the salmon. I still don't love the added fins, but on these two it does work a smidge better. 52 the Hoglin and 51 the Zoglin. Obviously these two had to be back to back, and I think they nailed the shape here. It's maybe a bit too detailed, but overall I think they're good. 50 the Tadpole. Ending off our C tier, we have another water egg. The thing I like about this is the fact that it's just straight up a tadpole. Like, it's not only got the tail, but the eyes as well. There's only a couple other spawn eggs that get eyes, so it's pretty interesting to see what they have. I also just find it funny that the tadpole has a spawn egg, unlike all the other eggs. And now we're up to the B tier. We were already seeing it a little bit from the tail end of C tier, but I really don't have much criticism from this point up. Although I do have to get mad at 49, the Goat. Not because the egg is wrong or anything, it's just when I got to the end of the ranking, I realized I only had 80 eggs instead of 81 like I should. So I had to go through the entire list to see which one I missed, and it was the Goat! The Goat! Yeah, so that was mildly annoying, but the Goat egg is perfectly fine. Now we've got ourselves a bit of a streak of what I like to call the fat eggs. We've seen a few of these already in the list, but this streak makes the eggs look like a fat version of the eggs. I think these are funny to look at, so I'm putting them all together. This will go by 48 Omelette and 47 Triple. Definitely the least interesting of them, otherwise the added bit for the Triple is 46 the Camel. This is just a small version of a lot. It's a bit less recognizable, but I like the color. 45 the Pillar. Pretty plain, but easily recognizable. 44 the Mule, 43 the Horse, and 42 the Donkey. All three of these basically had to be back to back as they take pretty similar designs. This is really stupid, but the fact that you can see their mouths on these eggs makes them look extra fancy. 41 the Ender Dragon. This one is really funny, but I'm not letting it win the fat egg streak because it's not connected. I didn't realize it existed until I started editing, so I had to fix all the numbers in the video just for this stupid egg. Or need the zombie first. To end off the fat egg streak, I'm giving it to this poor guy because it doesn't look though as the color scheme is great, and it has a funny mouth like the other horses. 39 the Blaze. All things considered, this is a pretty simple one, but I honestly kind of like it for that. A majority of these spawn eggs have something sticking off the egg, so the fact that this one is kind of nice. The color scheme is also 38 the Sheep. This is similar to our last one, but it has a bit more detail to fit with it being a sheep. The face is a great addition, and I actually like the bit at the bottom to break up the white. 7 the Pig. This is probably the simplest spawn egg of the bunch, but it works really well for the pig. Just giving it the iconic nose is pretty much all you needed, and from a meta level, it makes sense that the pig would be simple, as it was one of the very first boss added to the game. 36 the Cat. I just think this one turned out to be pretty cute. It does kind of suck that we couldn't get all the cat skins represented somehow, but the one they chose fits well. 35 the Slime. I love the approach they took with this one, as it really makes it look like the egg itself is slimy. It's oozing out slime and is perfectly gross with it. 34 the Breeze. This one is great because it's even for kids. The eyebrows were such a good detail to add, on top of the already great color scheme of the top. 33 the Ground. The color scheme on this one is just fantastic. It really looks like an egg that was left at the bottom of the ocean bowl. The mix of brown, blue, and green sells the look perfectly, and that's great because it's also the drowned color scheme. The green bits are maybe a bit too bright, but I still really like what they did. 32 the Zombie. I mean, this one is exactly what you'd expect, taking the zombies color scheme and putting it over an egg. The zombies are pretty much the game's most basic enemy, so it having a fairly basic egg, I think works pretty well. And I like how if you tweak this one's colors, you basically just get a Steve spawn egg. Wait, No. 31, the Phantom. Guys, let's give it up. The Phantom didn't do something terrible. Alright, to be fair, the Phantom's design has always been cool, so translating it to an egg is guaranteed to make it at least a little bit cool too. I love how the bony bit on its back covers up the egg, and I also appreciate them not giving this wings. I think some spawn eggs do work well with the wings, but this is a case where it's better without, since the Phantom's wings are pretty easy. 30, the Panda. This one is just really cute to look at. Even though most eggs don't get eyes, I'm happy they still included the dark circles in the front. The ears were also a great touch, so this ends up looking like a cute baby panda. 29, the Magma Cube. This is a pretty creative way to take the egg. Whenever the Magma Cube jumps, it splits apart, and that's what this egg is trying to replicate. Lava colors look really nice here. I do think the strips of lava could have maybe been separated a bit more, but as this is, it's a very creative concept for an egg. 28, the Elder Guardian, and 27, the Guardian. Here we have our final two water-based eggs. I just think the design of an egg with spikes works perfectly well. It makes it easy to see this big one eggs look like a panda. That also helps that I've always been a fan of both the Guardian's color scheme, so the normal one is definitely my favorite. Also, I just noticed that the water on both of them are different colors. Why would they do that? Anyway, it's time for our A tier, the eggs that I think look really good. Kicking us off, we have 26 eggs. Originally, I had placed this one quite low on the list, but then I used the ancient technique of using my eyes. Yeah, and then I actually thought this one looked pretty great. Love that it's a super tiny egg, and most importantly, I love the color. I've always been a purple fan, and yep, this egg definitely has that. At first, I was a bit mixed on the brighter purple at the bottom, since the Endermite doesn't have that, but it grew on me as a cool style choice. Oh, and also, this is another one of the few eggs that have a top. 25, the Warden. I think the Warden is one of the coolest designs in the game already, so putting it on an egg just doesn't need it too. I love that this is mostly an adaptation of the show, and the dark green of the scope is magnificent. It is maybe a little bit crowded, but overall, still good. 24, the Bonkers. I absolutely love this one. He's one of the coolest definitely or the most cool. All three of these have ideas that I hard to tell which is which, but this is about the best they could do. 17, the Iron Golem. Love the added vines to the egg, as the green gives a nice contrast to the white. 16, the Wandering Trader. I really like this one because of how the villager's nose overlaps its hood here. The blue color is also very nice. 15, the Villagers. Obviously, this is the mob the idea fits best with, as they're the face of the characters. It is a bit plain, but that's also the point, as it has to represent a ton of different villager types. 14, the Witch. I just love the little hat added on top of this one. It's so thin, but also perfectly done. I have no notes. The wart on the nose is also a great detail. 13, the Evoker. This guy is the winner of the big sniffer streak, and that's just because I love his color scheme. Black and yellow has always been my favorite color combos for some reason. Maybe that's why I want him in everything. But yeah, I think because of the color scheme, the Evoker is definitely my favorite. 12, the Sniffer. Obviously, it had to have the sniffer of the sniffer, but I also love the green and red color scheme used here too. The featuring on the green bit makes it look more plant-like, and I think that was just perfectly done. 11, the Bat. I like how this sort of mimics the classic sort of bat symbol by having its wings extended. The wings are what makes a bat recognizable, so I'm happy they included them here. Color-wise, this also just looks great too, so I have no complaints. But now it's time for our S tier, which is just made up of my top 10. Quality-wise though, they're pretty much on the same level as the A's. Starting off, we have 10 the Cow and 9 the Mushroom. What I love about these two is the fact that they're very reminiscent of the classic spawn egg texture. Obviously the new ones also have horns, but the spots on each of them are very close to the classic spawn eggs. Happy that its design was able to be maintained, even if only a little bit. 8 the Chicken. First off, I absolutely love that this is the exact same size as a normal egg item. That's a fantastic detail. Secondly, the design is just perfect. Since the egg is so small, the face of the chicken takes up the perfect amount of space here. It's just really cute, and I can't see any good way to improve it. 7 the Bog. This one was a surprise hit for me. After seeing how well the other skeletons did, this guy making it all the way up to S tier is pretty surprising. The design of the egg though is just phenomenal. The green color and the mushrooms just make this look like a perfect rotten egg. I also love that the egg itself is a bit more on the gray side here. I think that actually gives us a bit of building application in creative mode, so you could put it on the ground as a sort of stone. On top of just looking great, this is just a there's no mistake for anything else. 6 the Parrot. This one is so colorful, I can't help but love it. Of the parrot options, this color scheme was definitely the best one they could have gone with. The added feathers at the top along with the beak were the perfect details to add here as well. Like the Phantom, I'm also very happy this didn't get its wings, as the egg shape works a lot better. 5. The Enderman. This is a bit more creative than some of the other takes on spawn eggs we've seen. Instead of just being what the Enderman looks like, this takes its color scheme and makes something really cool looking with it. It's almost like a smaller Ender Dragon egg, and I think that's perfect. The splotchiness of the purple bits also do a great job representing the particle effects, and I think they balance the black and purple of the egg perfectly. Some people may not like that it's not just the Enderman's eyes or something, but I think this approach is really cool. 4. The bee. I mean, this one looks so cute, I can't help myself. It's so tiny, the bee color scheme looks great, and it's one of the few eggs I think works very well with its wings. It honestly just looks like you're holding a mini bee in your hands, and I think that's perfect. Honestly, if you have a creative mode bee-based build, this could also fit pretty well too. 3. The snow golem. This just being a mini snowman you're carrying around in your pocket is fantastic. The pumpkin looks kind of healthy here, and the added stick arms were up to when you think of the spawn eggs, this might be the one that captures the full look of the mob the best. I think they really nailed it. 2. The shoulder. This just simply has one of my favorite ideas for all of the eggs. I love that the shell of the egg is I mean, it's just I genuinely don't think there's any way they could have made this better. It's one of the few spawn eggs that I think actually feels like it's still an egg. Not that that was a huge criteria or anything, but the fact that the shoulder made it work makes me love it even. 1. The creeper. Yeah, I know, I'm boring and basic, but come on, this one just looks really good. The things the creeper color scheme based on one of Minecraft's design principles, so yeah, I got it. Makes perfect sense for it to be the face of the spawn egg as well. So for simply having the most iconic and appealing design,
I can't move.
Creeper egg is easily my favorite spawn egg in Minecraft. Anyways, that's it for this video. Are you mad I didn't include turtle eggs in this list despite them not being spawn eggs? Let me know in the comments. This is a fun video to make, and I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. Just a warning to Minecraft viewers, by the way, I might be making a lot more videos of Mario Kart in the near future, just because the Switch 2 is coming out soon. But I still have plenty of Minecraft ideas, so don't worry. Before I go, I want to thank my members,
Bro. I'm never getting glitches world record at this rate. I'm talking about normal speedruns, by the way, not no-hit speedruns. Alright, Wickabell, please. Now that I've said it now, I'm gonna jinx it, but it's fine.
About the game, though, has to be the mob. Friendly or hostile creatures that bring the Minecraft world alive. Everything from the pig to the ender dragon and the very iconic mule all count as mobs. However, some mobs are worse than others. So today, for the Minecraft video
cool.
and on time, we're going to be ranking them from worst to best.
Surely this is still sub 25 though, even with those less than ideal mistakes.
Some other way? If the answer is yes, then it more than likely will end up placing highly on the list. The second category, though, is a bit more controversial, and that's just how much I like the mob in general based on their design, sounds, and mechanics. I know a lot of people will disagree with me on that one, but I guess we'll just have to see how it goes. One last note before we start. I'm only going to be including mobs with spawn eggs, plus the Wither and Ender Dragon. Sorry to all 3 Illusioner fans out there. This video was recorded during the 1.19 update, so anything won't be here. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel because I'd really like to make more Minecraft videos.
Move Chris to the left, it's fine.
That said, let's jump right into the first mob. I think this might just be the single least controversial thing I've said in any ranking video. The Phantom. It has essentially 0 redeeming qualities and only exists to make it significantly more. That I'm lucky enough to never encounter.
Bro. Can I stop throwing?
Also, why is the game encouraging you to not use the return spot? You're punished for not using the app. Challenge the Phantom never encountered them in the first place. All they did was act very intimidating. Another mob.
I might hold it left. I
After all
might
that
hold left.
ranting, does it at least drop something good?
Alright, don't make the same mistake as
Phantom
last
memory
time.
is used for a total of 2 things. One is repairing the elytra, which may seem good until you remember that mending exists. Plus, by the time you not only have an elytra, but an almost broken one, you likely already have a mending bug. So the only real use for phantom membranes are for brewing slow falling potions. This potion can be helpful, but it's very niche, so overall, the phantom is less than worthless. It's got absolutely nothing going for it. Okay, well we can finally move away from the undeniable worst mob and start getting into some more that only suck a little. 74, the Trader Llama. Okay, this one may seem bizarre to me. When a wandering trader spawns into the world, he'll come with 2 llamas, which is cool, I guess. Llamas can be used to get leather, so it's nice to slaughter them for it. However, I need to share a personal story. So as of late, I've been playing a lot of Skyblock with my friend, which you'll be seeing some footage of in the background throughout the video. We needed to get a source of leather because doing piglin barters was a bit slower than what we needed. Sadly, the only way to get cows is to wait for them to randomly spawn, which we weren't able to do. However, we came up with the brilliant idea to make a wandering trader llama farm. So we set up a pen, bred them a bit, and the next day the babies were gone. Yeah, so apparently, unless they're tamed or on a lead, wandering trader llamas can despawn like hostile mobs. That is so incredibly stupid. Yes, I know it said that they despawn with the wandering trader, but they could have at least made it so their offspring don't also despawn. Chickens from chicken jockeys will also despawn, but if you breed them, their offspring will despawn. Yeah, I know this is probably the only reason to put a mob so low. You have to see the next effects. The next is by the evoker to attack the wall. Uniquely, they're able to fly through walls and stay really neat mechanics. They're one of the deadliest mobs in the game too because they wield iron swords. While that can't make them seem annoying to deal with, they did have a way to save them. I personally think the Axe was one of the coolest looking mobs in the game. I just love the color scheme and the face was perfectly devious. But then they changed the design. I'm not sure what the change is, but I personally love it. It looks so much worse. Yeah, I know but that's dumb. Now they're an annoying and ugly mob, so I think it is 72 Okay, so they're over here. You can't actually get them at all in survival yet, but they for some reason you may automatically place. Well, they simply don't make the game worse than the other ones. They just kind of that is just an ambient mob for gamers. I would say I'm overall happy they're in the game, but it makes it kind of considering it's useless compared to other data. 70. If you're an old school Minecraft player, you may be surprised to see this mob so low. You used to be able to tame ocelots in order to get cats, which aren't actually really helpful. Eventually, though, cats and ocelots are going to mobs. So what do ocelots do now? Be annoying. Yeah, they don't drop anything, so the only real time you'll ever need to look for one is fancy. It requires you to breed every breedable mob. Having a challenging mob for this advancement is kind of cool though, and I overall do like their design more than bats, so they got a slight edge. 69, Ice Bear. Definitely one of the more forgettable mobs. They act as a neutral mob themselves, attacking the player if they get close to their child. Again, this one is really just an ambience mob to add some more life to it. They got the edge over the last 2 though because it actually drops something. It's just honest. 68, Silverfish. These guys just like to make experiences and not buy into the story. They are kind of neat to encounter, but they don't really do that much unless you somehow get scared by a fight. What holds them back from being higher though doesn't really have to do with the mob itself. It has to do with me, the infested ones. I can't be the only one who used to accidentally build with them in creative, right? I feel like I used to make that mistake every time I wanted to build with any type of stone, and it got pretty annoying. For the minor annoyance they somehow managed to cause me in creative, they got pushed down the list. 67, Llamas. I honestly just don't really understand the point of them. Yeah, they can give you leather, that's cool, but instead of breeding with one piece of meat, the llamas decided they wanted to be fat, so it takes an entire hay bale to breed them. No, I guess you can't ride them, but you can't direct them, so I have to ask again, what's the point? Oh, wait, I forgot they can spit on you. Yeah, llamas are just boring, but getting leather is a good use, so they aren't the worst. 66, the glow squid. Yeah, so I may be just a little upset that the book was great because the Iceologer sounded awesome. Oh yeah, both the Glow Squid and Phantom were mobs voted into the game during my Hunt's mob bonus. Basically all the Glow Squid do is give you glow ink sacs, and their only use at the moment is to make signs and item frames glow. I mean, the glowing versions look neat, but they really could have just made glowstone dust do the same thing. 65, the Strider. To be honest, I really use them outside of getting detailed, but a decent.
Coming straight from your house.
I literally don't think I have ever seen a single one of these in-game during the over 10 years I've been playing Minecraft. 63, donkeys. These are basically just worse horses. They're significantly slower and can't have water. They can let you put a chest on, but I really don't think that's too terribly useful when we could just hold an ender chest for a similar effect. I did decide to put them over mules though for one simple reason. They take less effort to get. Mules don't spawn naturally, so while yes they are a bit faster than donkeys, by the time you're breeding horses and donkeys together, you could probably have an elytra and shoulders anyway. 62, the Ravager. First off the good, I find the design to be pretty fun. It's also got some pretty dark implications that these may have been villagers considering they have the same face. Their attack patterns are also not too bad either, not being able to receive knockback is a cool gimmick. The problem with them though actually has to do with their drop. See, these guys spawn during raids, so you're most likely going to be trying to get items from the other villagers. That makes it really annoying when your inventory keeps getting filled up with these guys' saddles. Since saddles can't stack either, this mob as a whole is a pain. 61, 60, cod, 59, salmon, 58, tropical fish. These all give the underwater biomes a lot of extra life, and I really appreciate that. Unlike many of the other ambient sort of mobs, their drops are really helpful, as fish can both be a good food source and can also be used to make helpful point structures. Picking them up in buckets is fun too, and they let you transport them very easily. Of the fish, the pufferfish is the worst since it can do damage and isn't really able to use. Yes, it's good for water breathing potions, but those are sort of niche. Tropical fish are my favorite, as while they aren't good food sources at all, I love the way they effort to make a fish really important. The original water mob is probably still the most useful of the passive ones, as it gives you the easiest way to get points, which is pretty important, as black is a pretty common color to fill. Black diamond watering traders are the rodents too, but being broken in some way in almost every way. 56 frogs. Okay, white frogs are still fun. They're really rare, but I love them both so much. Oh, I guess they are able to attack chicken. 55, panda. Same deal as the foxes, but they also apparently give the player slime balls. I had no idea that was a mechanic before making this video, so I guess if you want to make the worst slime farm ever, you can use pandas. 54, the goat. The main reason you'd want to interact with them is because of the goat horns, which are pretty fun to use, especially in multiplayer. What really puts them up here though has to do with how funny it is to give them specific potion effects in creative mode. 53, cave spiders. They're sort of just more annoying spiders, but I honestly kind of like that. They can do everything a spider can, but are smaller and like it quite a bit as an enemy. They get the structure are much more intense. I typically think that it's just spiders, but I think that they act as really strong enemies. 50 This is honestly kind of a weird mob. They drop 3 unique items being raw rabbit, rabbit hide, and rabbit's foot, but they're all pretty niche. Rabbit is just an okay food source, and rabbit stew is just a waste, like who would ever make this? Rabbit hide can be crafted into leather, which is nice, but that basically just makes this an extra slow way of getting the item. Finally, rabbit's foot can be used to make jump boost potions, which are honestly very, very niche. I'm not even sure why you would ever really need them in survival. One cool thing about rabbits though is how they change based on the biome. They even have an exclusive look for if you name the rabbit Toast with a name tag. However, the rabbits are brought down by one major disappointment. When they were first added, there was a very rare chance that a killer bunny could spawn, which would attack the player and actually deal a lot of damage. Oh my gosh, killer bunny, that's like 530! This Easter egg was super fun, and I bet you can still get it in survival. The killer bunny is still in the game as a great mode exclusive, but man, and in survival mode with we didn't have rabbits in the they're just undeniably awesome. First off, they can ride a machine, which is super sick. Secondly, they can mimic mob sounds to warn you if a mob's nearby. Also not cool. But the absolute best thing they can do is this. I genuinely don't know how to do this. Sadly, they are technically useless, but they're cool so they can attack us. 50. This is the first of our 4 bosses. While the may make it seem like I dislike this guy, I honestly don't. They work well as enemies for most audience, and the gimmick of getting there mining fatigue to also makes it structure on pages. Sadly though, that mining fatigue can also be quite annoying if you accidentally ride past the mining. I'm not really sure what they can do to get around this issue, but it is something to watch. It being able to jump scare the player though is good. 49, Snoring. These guys are just silly. Look at that. Not just being silly, they do have some decent uses as well, being the easiest way to farm snow is this one. They also throw snowballs, which is useful, but it's very simple. 48. Trust me, I want to know more than what this is. It's basically just a purple silverfish, but instead of coming from blocks, it comes from the however, it does have one massive use that makes it efficient Enderman farms, which are fantastic for XP. This is a legitimately very good use, so they had to be here on the list, even if they look stupid and are annoying. 47. First of many zombie variants, and I personally think the gap between the drowned and the others is pretty big. These will spawn underwater and act as decent ways to make those biomes a bit more exciting. The most important thing about drowns though are their drops, being copper ingots, nautilus shells, and the big one, trident. Trident is excruciating processes in the game. For some reason, drowns rarely spawn in Java, only really spawning in Ocean Ruin. On top of that, only drowns are golden tridents. Only 1 in 188 drowns will drop a trident. So while the drop is quite useful, the process being as annoying as it is makes me strongly dislike this mob. 46. Turtle. Also give the players some pretty valuable items, but they take a while to get. In this case, the items we want from them are scoots and turtle eggs. In order to get scoots, we have to breed turtles and wait for the babies to both hatch and grow up before we get the first scoot. This process isn't as painful as the one for tridents though, so I don't dislike turtles as much. Oh wait, so can I forget? Turtles can be used to make the Turtle Master Potion, the most, useful potion in the game. 45. Hoglet. These guys just act as good ways to get food in the nether. They to attack the player, which makes the nether even more dangerous. 44. Zoglin. This is pretty much just a purely Easter egg mob that honestly makes it pretty cool. In order to find ways to bring Hoglin into the overworld where it'll then transform. This also gives the monster's hunted advancement some extra challenges you're required to take. 43. Piglin Group. And 42. These are both active mobs that bastions or raids are dangerous. I personally think they're both the most dangerous mob out of their respective groups, making them a pretty good mini-bosses. The Vindicator does make this a bit higher though for two main reasons. First off, it's better. Secondly, if you name the Vindicator John, it will actually become possible to literally every mob in the game. Still a bit more niche than I would have liked. I'd say this is our first good mob to make the mob. You basically give them an item and they'll go out and trade. Sorting on cycle items, so that's super great. If you also find it interesting to give them an item and no matter what you try, it's going to work. Honestly, 41. These guys can actually make a cat, but you can pay by just putting them in the box. They can even come to attack you with a mob using you can. They also have multiple variations. Variant has a 1 in 1,200 chance of spawning. Very good. Also fun fact, based on the mob damage, 39. This is super random. That's honestly what makes me wrong. Robot farms are such a specific and odd thing to build that I just can't build. The more unique things to build, the better in my book. 37. B.
Just hit the fucking bricks, please. I'd rather worry about tightening and losing time generally. That's one of us.
Those trades fit their gimmicks, so I really think they should be trade. 35. These are definitely the rarest of the basic nighttime mobs, which I think is pretty fair. They may also be the scariest. They attack using potions, which are extremely deadly regardless of the path. I feel like having a challenge is set, and if a player goes near it, more skeleton horsemen will appear. This is one of the absolute coolest mob concepts in the entire game, which carried this game a lot. They sadly can't touch most of the can't actually be ridden underwater, which I think is a massive advantage. I'm just a big fan of okay, last timberable mob for a while, I promise, but cats are incredibly useful. For whatever reason, both phantoms and more importantly, creepers are terrified of cats, meaning they'll run away from them and protect the mob. This is helpful for not only defending the base, but also constructing creeper farms, which are very helpful, especially in the game. Cats also have a certain classic these guys are valuable resources in close to
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Still, the drops are really good, and
Two more, two more.
20 dolphins. The dolphins in 2 are really good so far above this. First off, feed the
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yes, dude. Oh my god. 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 Oh my god, dude. Yes. Yes, dude. 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 Don't fuck up the first attack. Don't fuck up the first attack. Don't fuck up the first attack, dude. Oh my god. Yes. Yes, dude. Holy shit. Holy shit. Holy shit! Yes! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Which I've mentioned a lot in this video.
Holy shit! Yes! Oh my god!
These act exactly like
holy shit! Yes! Oh my god. I had so many fails past third sanctuary.
Overall, they did a great job on this.
Genuinely so many to count, like just so much.
Which is a very helpful resource for
it's not even funny. Also, second sanctuary counts too because like that's when my nerves really start. That's not when my nerves start to kick in, but that's like a good point like beyond pace in my opinion, because like there's not really much you can do in second sanctuary. Holy shit, dude. Oh my god. Oh my god, dude. Yes. Oh, that feels good. That fucking feels good. Dude. Oh my god.
We have arrived at our final underwater mode. Seeing the main enemy respond in ocean mining, they act as a great way to get all the prismarine materials.
Jesus.
Their attacks are also super unique as they shoot out a beam from their eye. This makes for a fun fight against them as you have to try and hide from their beam before it's too late. My favorite part about them though is making a farm. It's a long process of needing to drain out
please tell me I'm recording on the right.
It's more than worth it in the end. 20.
Seems like it, yeah.
While we're at it, 19 the stray. These are both 5 variations of the zombie and skeleton respectively.
Holy shit, dude.
Really cool that they went through the effort to
I'm
make
fucking done. I'm done. I ain't doing chapter 3. I ain't doing all boss. I mean, I guess I have to if I make it to chapter 4. But I'm not making it into chapter 4 in the freaking thing. I'm going to lose at chapter 3 due to freaking everyone being cracked.
Go and fight it with a bunch of friends. The fight involves having to destroy end crystals in order to stop the... Or you could do that too. One thing I like about the dragon is the fact that it can just launch you into the sky, making the possibility of death always present. Upon killing the dragon, you aren't given too much. Just a lot of XP, the dragon egg, and a way out of the end.
Bring back 1.8. Bring back. Bring back. Who's Brack?
The main reason you'd want to kill the dragon in my experience is to open up more gateways. guys will give you a Totem of Undying, which is one of the most powerful items in the game, and will instantly revive you if you lose all your hearts. Also, it drives me crazy watching any sort of hardcore Minecraft video and they aren't holding a totem.
Feels that.
The way the Evoker attacks is also pretty interesting, as they summon Vexes and Jaws to snap up from the ground. They're probably the easiest pillager to defeat in isolation, but in context of a raid they can be quite dangerous. Speaking of a raid, 16, the Pillagers. Despite being the most recent illager, I would say they're the main one, as they're the ones you need to kill in order to get Bad Omen. Bad Omen is of course very powerful, as it's what causes raids to happen in the first place. Those are very important for getting items like emeralds and of course totems. It may be sort of cheating to put these as the highest illager, considering they're only really here because they give you access to the others, but I think it's fair enough. 15, the Blaze. These are one of the most important mobs in the game, as they're the only ones to drop Blaze Rods, which are required to make Eyes of Ender to beat the game. They also drop some of the most XP out of any mob, making their spawners excellent places for an XP farm. I've also always really liked their design. It's very different from anything else in the game. They're quite dangerous, as they can set the player on fire and you can't easily place water in the nether. Yes, I know you can put water in cauldrons in the nether, calm down nerds. But yeah, I like pretty much everything about Blazes. 14. Ghast. While Ghast tiers aren't nearly as useful as Blaze Rods, I do think I have to give the edge to Ghast in terms of the ranking. They're one of the most terrifying mobs in the game. Their cries always fill the nether, making it impossible to tell when they're being struck. Their fireballs can very easily knock a player into lava if they're not careful. However, if the player is paying attention, they can actually put the fireball back in the Ghast to kill them, which is one of the most fun things to do in the game. You even get
Let's go! Yes! Let's go! Holy shit! Oh my god! Oh my god, dude! Ah, yes! Dude, yes! Oh, dude. PNG, there we go.
The main thing about skeletons is of course the fact that they drop bones and arrows, and since they have a spawner, they're pretty easy to farm. While I do like the normal skeletons a lot, I do have to say I like our next entry here a little bit more. 11, the Wither Skeletons. These guys will drop bones, but they also have unique drops such as coal and of course Wither Skeleton skulls. They're also much more intimidating than normal skeletons, as they can give the player the wither effect. To sort of balance that and make them more unique though, the Wither Skeleton is half a block taller than normal ones. That makes fighting them a lot easier, as you can run under ceilings they can't, but you have to be prepared to set those ceilings up, which once again makes fighting them have a special trick. 10, the Wither. Kicking off our top 10, we have the final boss in the list. First off, its design is fantastic. It's probably my favorite out of any mob in the entire game. The 3 heads look perfectly ominous, and the body connecting them is great too. As for the actual fight, the Wither will focus on shooting out skulls towards the player, which can give them the Wither effect. They're also able to destroy blocks around them, which even includes obsidian, which makes the boss all the more intimidating. I will say though, I do wish this boss was a bit harder, as he can be surprisingly easy to defeat, especially if you do it underground without any way for it to escape. Wait, I'm talking about the Java one. The Bedrock one is cracked for no reason. Do not make that one harder. I repeat, that thing does not need to be made harder. Outside of the fight itself, the items you get from the Wither are also quite useful. First is of course the Nether Star, which are super helpful.
But did I really, Carol? Did I really?
Wither roses affect nearby mobs with the Wither.
That has to be Carol, right? It's either Carol or Des.
Overall, this is a fantastic boss that is definitely worth the fight.
Maybe.
They made him a bit harder and cheesable. I think he may have been able to
I Well done.
Which is what adds the extra bit of stress, as there's almost always several nearby. You never know when you might accidentally hit one and cause
The halfway mark has been
Piglin are also very
attained.
useful for both XP and gold. Farms for them function really well, so it's one of the best farms to construct in
But
any world. Since
it is
every
still
zombified Piglin count is being hit by the
waiting.
player, they'll drop XP upon death. Overall, both of these mobs are the faces in the nether, and they're the reason that eventually
How much longer now?
7, the shoulder. This is one of my favorite design mobs in the entire game. They'll will shoot out projectiles that will home in towards the player. The player can simply hit them to destroy it, but if they do get hit, then the player will be given the levitation effect, which can both help the player, but also put them in a really bad spot. This is such an interesting dynamic for an attack, and makes me love the shulkers even more. On top of that, their drops are also some of the most valuable in the game, being the shulker shells. These are used to craft shulker boxes, which are very important items late game, as they let you carry a chest worth of stuff in only one inventory slot. All of that was enough to make it place very highly on the list, but what really pushed it over the edge was the unique way they can be farmed. For whatever reason, if a shulker shoots itself, there's a chance it'll duplicate. There's nothing else like that in the game at all, which makes these guys even more special than they already were. 6. The Enderman. Being one of the 2 mobs to make it in as a playable skin in Smash Ultimate, it's obviously one of the most iconic mobs in the game. For the most part, they will be completely harmless. However, if you look them in the eyes, they will shake violently, and as soon as you look away, they'll teleport towards you and run very quickly to kill you. They are also very strong, making them one of the most intimidating mobs in the game. They do have a few weaknesses though, such as not being able to go in water and the fact that they're 3 blocks tall, but they can still be terrifying to deal with regardless.